Another week, another slate of good games that need to be picked. So that's what we're going to do today. How's it going, everybody? I am Jason of Jason's Realm here, and today I'm here bringing you guys, me and the team's Week 4 NFL predictions. Let's just dive right into this. Before we do, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think's winning this week? Who do you think's going to be the biggest upset? Who do you think's going to be the biggest margin of victory? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about this week, and I will respond to every one of you guys who leaves a comment. Alright, so we're going to start things off, as always, with the Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. This game looking to be absolutely critical for both of these teams, both fighting at a chance at the division. The Packers coming in white hot with Jordan Love, coming up from what nobody expected to be as good as they are. The Lions, on the other hand, having some decent success, but being alright this year. I mean, I've had higher expectations they haven't quite met, but they've been doing everything that they needed to do each week of the season. That being said, me, David, HD, picking the Lions. We have NFL Delivery picking the Packers. Oh yeah, by the way, PDF did not get his picks in this week. He'll get his picks into the back end at some point, but unfortunately we cannot share those today. Up next, we have the first London game of the 2023 NFL season. The Atlanta Falcons being the road team at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now this game going to be insane because the Jaguars are basically the de facto London home team. They have played a lot in London. They have played decent in London. That being said, me and NFL Delivery are taking the Jaguars on this. Meanwhile, HD and David both picking the Falcons, and this is going to come down to, can the Jaguars stop Bijan Robinson? If the Jaguars cannot stop Bijan Robinson, the Falcons win this. If they can, the Jaguars should be able to pull out a victory. Up next, we have the biggest game of the week, the Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. This game absolutely critical, as both of these teams having huge margins of victory last week. The Buffalo Bills going up 37-0, only giving up a garbage time field goal, mind you. Not even a garbage time touchdown, a garbage time field goal. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins putting up 70 points on the Denver Broncos. Who is going to come out in this clash of titans? Well, if you ask me or HD, the answer is the Bills. If you ask David or NFL Delivery, they got the Dolphins. This is going to be the best game of the week, hands down. Up next, we have the Carolina Panthers playing host to the Minnesota Vikings. This game of 2-0-3 teams. Do the Vikings keep the tank alive, or do they manage to pull out a win against Carolina? Carolina has been playing solid, but I mean, Minnesota has too much talent to go 0-4 if they aren't trying to actively tank. That being said, me, David, HD, all picking the Vikings. NFL Delivery taking the Panthers for the upset. Up next, we have the Denver Broncos looking for revenge and looking to beat up on someone. And luckily for them, they're going to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Bears not really being a great team at all this year. Justin Fields making absolutely horrendous reads on the field. Meanwhile, defensively, they have been a doormat, letting up 41 points against the Chiefs last week. And I know it's the Chiefs, but the Chiefs have been looking off-kilter offensively this year. So that is nothing to be understated, the fact that they are a doormat. So that being said, the Broncos are not going to let this go. They got slaughtered last week, 70-20. They are going to put up a fight, and they are going to make sure that they can do whatever they can in their power to get a win. And that being said, we all have the Broncos winning this one. Up next, we have another candidate for Game of the Week potential here. The Cleveland Browns hosting the Baltimore Ravens. This game going to be a critical match, division rivalry between two teams that are pretty solid. The Ravens are just generally all around solid, whereas the Browns are very great defensively this year. They are ranking first in a lot of key categories defensively. Offensively, there's a lot there to be desired, but defensively, they will shut you down any way they can. Though that being said, I am picking the Browns. I am lone wolfing the Browns. David, HD, and NFL Delivery all taking the Ravens in this one. Up next, it's JJ time in H-Town. The Houston Texans hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they will also be inducting J.J. Watt into the Ring of Honor. This game going to be an emotional game for the Texans. C.J. Stroud coming off of his best week yet, but he has a huge test this week in that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The front seven has been getting sacks like crazy. And man, I mean, this Steelers defense is pulling multiple sacks each and every week. that offensive line for the Texans isn't really the greatest. So C.J. Stroud is going to be having linemen in his face the entire game. And then the secondary doesn't get much easier. You have Patrick Peterson, Joey Porter Jr. in there, a bunch of other corners. Then you have Minkah Fitzpatrick back there as well. So you are going to have a very, very, very tough time for C.J. Stroud going up against this defense. But the Texans will be playing with emotion, and it is a Matt Canada-led offense for the Steelers. That being said, me and NFL Delivery are taking the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. David and HD both picking the Texans. Up next, we have another fun one to watch. The Los Angeles Rams at the Indianapolis Colts. This game going to be a very interesting one, especially if Anthony Richardson plays. The big problem for the Rams is going to be that offensive line. If the offensive line holds up, then that is going to be a score fest for the Rams because the Colts defense isn't really known with a lot of big players in key areas. So the Rams offense should have no problem putting up points, but, and here's the big but, if the Rams offensive line does not hold up, that defense is not really as well known. They're going to have a tough time containing Anthony Richardson and his weapons. So the defensive line, whenever you have just Aaron Donald, you're going to have problems containing a quarterback because Anthony Richardson just goes opposite Aaron Donald and he is fine. So this is going to be a very interesting clash of two teams that are meh this season. Not really great, not really horrible. That being said, all of us are taking the Rams, except for David, who is picking the Colts. Up next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into New Orleans to take on their much-hated division rival Saints. What will the Saints do? Now, Derek Carr is a big question mark in this one. If Derek Carr plays, we are going to have a really close match. If Derek Carr does not play because of his AC joint sprain, or his AC sprain, then the Buccaneers should have no problem running over this team because famous Jameis is not really going to cut it in this league. He's a backup for sure, but he is not going to cut it as a starter. So that being said, I don't think that Derek Carr starts this week. He's going to do whatever he can. I think Baker has a bounce-back week this week. That being said, we all have the Buccaneers across the board. Up next, we got the Washington Commanders going into Philadelphia to take on the Dirty Birds, the Philadelphia Eagles. This game going to be interesting as the Eagles offensively have been leaving a lot to be desired. Finally having a multi-score win last week, but will it be enough? Now that being said, the defense is going to be having an easy time because Sam Howell has not been controlling the ball and containing the ball and securing it well. That being said, across the board, except for NFL Delivery, we all have the Eagles. NFL Delivery picking the upset of the Commanders. Up next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going into Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans have been a pestering team for every week except for last week where they got blown out by the Browns. But the Bengals coming off of an absolutely huge Monday night win for them where they needed to get their season back on track. That being said, this should be a fairly straightforward game for the Bengals, especially if they can get Jamar Chase used and utilized like he was on Monday night. The Bengals should have no problem. We all got the Bengals across the board because the Titans are basically the retirement home of the league right now. Up next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders going into Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. This game going to be a big one for the Chargers. Can the defense hold? Now, Jimmy Garoppolo does not look like he's going to be playing this week against the Chargers, so that is a huge, huge break for Brandon Staley's unit. And because of that, we all have the Chargers across the board because the Raiders' defense isn't really great. I mean, you got a defensive line, but other than that, I mean, you don't really have a big-name safety or a corner. You don't really have many to cover, so that's the problem. The defense is going to buckle for the Raiders. Even if the defense buckles for the Chargers, you're not going to be facing a good quarterback in your opponent. So we all got the Chargers across the board on this one. Up next, we got the New England Patriots going into Dallas to face on the absolutely embarrassed Dallas Cowboys. This game is going to be a huge game for the Cowboys because they got beat by the Arizona Cardinals of all teams. They are going to make the Patriots pay for what the Cardinals did to them. Defensively, they're going to be locked down. Offensively, they are going to be in stride and focused, laser focused. Therefore, we all have the Cowboys, but keep in mind, the Patriots do have a little something in their back pocket. It's called Bill Belichick, and a defense is actually playing somewhat good. So this game could be a lot closer than many people expect. Up next, we have the San Francisco 49ers playing host to the 1-2 somehow, someway Arizona Cardinals. Now, things are brewing very nicely in Arizona. Something special is going on with Jonathan Gannon. I don't know what it is, but I mean, geez, for them to be this competitive in all their games when everybody thinks they're tanking, with Joshua Dobbs as your quarterback, your starting quarterback, because Kyler's out, there's something a little special brewing on in the desert. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on. In fact, I think that the Cardinals are going to make it really close in the first half, but ultimately the Niners will do whatever the 49ers do, and that is win games with authority. We all have the Niners, except for NFL Delivery, taking the Cardinals because this week is going to be pivotal for the Cardinals if they're going to be competitive or not. If they play the 49ers close, they are competitive. If they don't, then they should just go back to the tank. Up next, we have a Sunday Night Football game that at the beginning of the season we thought was going to be an absolutely huge match. Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, but no, it is Zach Wilson now versus Patrick Mahomes. This isn't even going to be close. Yes, it's in New York. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is making his first start in the Big Apple. But at the same time, you're facing Zach Wilson and the Jets. I mean, that is just a very, very bad combination for the Jets. The Chiefs going to steamroll them. We all have the Chiefs on this one. And last but not least for this video, we have the Seattle Seahawks going into New York the day after the Jets to take on the Giants. This game going to be a potentially good one, as the Giants showed some life against the Niners. But then the Seahawks have also been playing down to their opponents significantly this year. They're giving me vibes of the Steelers whenever they would always play down to their opponents. They would play up against Tom Brady and the Patriots, and then they would go into Chicago and absolutely crap the bed. That is what I'm getting vibes of the Seattle Seahawks this year. So we'll have to see how it plays out, but we all have the Seahawks across the board. Now, before I close out this video, I do want to go through the Flip of Fate coins predictions. The coin on the year is 27 and 21, tied with me and tied with HD. David is 30 and 18, PDF is 32 and 16, NFL Delivery is 28 and 20, by the way. But the coins predictions this week, I'm just going to pick who they have winning down the line. We have the Lions, Falcons, Bills, Vikings, Broncos, Ravens, Texans, Rams, Buccaneers, Eagles, Bengals, Chargers, Cowboys, 49ers, Chiefs, and Seahawks. We'll see how the coin does this week. The coin had a really good week last week, so we'll see what it can do this week. Well, that's about going to do it for me today. If you guys did like, don't forget to smash like and subscribe, as it does help me out a whole lot. It lets me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And also, you know, it would be nice to see if we can hit 400 subscribers around here at some point. That would be pretty cool. Be a pretty nice little gift. But yeah, I guess go ahead and check out, if you haven't already, our Power Rankings video over here. And I guess I will see you guys later. Peace out and have a good one.